Hey, what's up everyone? Raging Golden Eagle here, having way too much fun as always. And I'm quite sure I did a video about this a few years back, but I'm gonna have to bring this topic back again. Cause every time I mention in a video that it's okay to take the easy way out to avoid some unnecessary fight, I always get flooded with people saying stupid shit like, "Oh, this just proves that you're not willing to fight for what you believe in, huh, you coward?" Yeah, cause that's exactly what I've been saying all these years, isn't it? Just give up, right? Just give up, just let the enemy win. That's exactly what I've been saying, right? That's why you guys are still here. So let me be clear, I'm not saying give up fighting. All I'm saying is think carefully about when and where you actually fight. Not all battles are worth fighting. And this is especially true when the enemy outnumbers you and or has a lot more resources than you, and they can afford to burn people out one for one and still win in the end. Now me personally, I for one only pick fights that I know I can win, or at the very least that I know I won't lose. More on that in a moment though. But that just applies to all the alleged fighting I do in the open. Everything else I'd leave to subterfuge, be that via secretly helping or supporting someone else that is actually fighting, or just quote-unquote messing up and helping on accident. There's a whole bunch of different ways. But the point is, if you keep picking fights with everyone that comes along, you will wear yourself out very quickly. And in the end, when that time comes, you will have accomplished nothing. All you have been doing is picking inconsequential fights with inconsequential people for the sake of your petty pride. Sometimes you may even last a few years, but everyone I've seen that does this just so happens to end up being the subject of those "what happened to this guy? Where did everything go wrong?" storylines as these people slowly go insane. If you think about it, isn't it a lot more productive to pick your battles intelligently and not waste precious time and resources on a fight that even if you win won't pay out anything worthwhile? Seriously, save your energy for the fights that actually matter, and focus on putting yourself into the best possible position in preparation for when that time comes. The important thing to keep in mind is your own long-term goals. For example, what me and a whole bunch of you guys did in college. When I went to college, I was not there to argue with the professors. I wasn't even there to learn, honestly. I didn't learn anything in college that I couldn't have learned on my own faster and cheaper, obviously. But then again, I wasn't going for a degree that requires multi-million-dollar pieces of lab equipment to learn, right? But that aside, I wasn't there to argue, I wasn't even there to learn. The only reason I was in that college was so I could get that piece of paper at the end that says I know something so that then I can use that as my tickets to get in the door of a good career. So whenever any political shit came up, I just told the professors what they want us to hear, got my 4.0 GPA, got my piece of paper, which then got my foot in the door of a good career, and then wiped my hands of that whole institution the second I was out the door. Haven't spared a single thought to the college I graduated from since I graduated. It was literally nothing more than a means to an end for me. So especially if you look at that situation, if I have to lie, or more accurately in this case, just stay silent, as a temporary measure in order to get to a better platform from which to ultimately speak the truth and do a lot more good than I could otherwise, then so be it. Instead of spurging out and lashing out at everyone and everything, you have to think strategically. Why would you sacrifice yourself as a grunt at the lowest level when you can instead rise higher and do more good from a position of actual power and influence? And seriously, ignore everyone who calls you a coward for doing this too. If you stay the course, they're gonna be the cannon fodder grunts that do your bidding in the future. And seriously, you guys should be very familiar with shaming language by now. Coward is simply the shaming tactic of choice of meatheads. It's safe to ignore it the vast majority of the time. Just like with any other type of shaming tactic, unless a specific person's opinion of you has some actual tangible influence on your life, then said opinion should be completely irrelevant to you. Now, having said all of that, if you personally see value in a specific fight that you're choosing to engage in, then by all means fight it. But if you're only doing it for your pride or something similar, then you are just setting yourself up for an epic fall in the future. So the most important thing to take away from this is always keep your actual goals in mind. If you do this, maybe you realize you don't even need to win. All you need to do is avoid losing. Take our current situation for instance. If you're fighting an enemy that you know you can outlast, then just use that in your strategy. The SJWs always turn on their own, and they will eat each other when left to their own devices. So we don't even really need to defeat them, just stop them from defeating us long enough for them to eat themselves. Then we strike when they are weak. So for now, just keep up the defense. Hold up your shield and don't lower it to attack unless you actually see an opening that's too good to pass up. Our own enemies will actually do all of the attacking for us when they inevitably start backstabbing each other. You gotta remember here, we are dealing with literal parasites. They can't create anything. All they can do is consume other people's work. So it's actually kinda simple. To defeat them, all we really have to do is keep them quarantined and not let them spread. They will very quickly turn on each other in that situation. And in the end, anything they destroy or have destroyed up until this point, we can easily rebuild after they're gone. Unlike them, we are actually capable of creation. We just need to get rid of the parasites first so we could do so unmolested. But that's apparently too cowardly of a tactic, I guess. And that's all I gotta say, guys. Thanks for listening.